Hi everyone, I'm Pranita and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are learning a simple pasta sauce that refrigerates really well. So let's get started. So these are the ingredients you're going to need for this recipe. Here I have about 1/4 cup of diced onions and almost 1/4 cup of diced green bell peppers. I have 2 huge garlic cloves chopped up really finely. I have some crushed peppers, some Italian seasoning, extra virgin olive oil, and here I have a combination of half teaspoon salt and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now this sugar, you won't be able to taste it in the recipe, but this is just to cut through the tartness of the tomatoes. I also have some tomato paste. I also have some organic crushed tomatoes. Now you can use some San Marzano tomatoes. I'm using crushed, but you can get whole tomatoes, diced tomatoes, crush them yourself. Using the crushed ones makes my life easier. So here I have a non-stick frying pan heating up for me. To this I'm gonna be adding about a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. You can add a little bit less or more. Olive oil gives a nice flavor to this since it's a very fruity oil. So I'm gonna let the oil heat up and we're going to saute the onions and peppers in the oil after it's hot. Just saute the onions a little bit until they are nice and soft. And I'm going to add a pinch of salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. You can add a little bit more to the sauce later, just about a small pinch, and let them saute and soften up on medium-high heat. I'm using a frying pan to make it easy on everybody and see what I'm doing here, but you can use a saucepan for this preparation since you're gonna be adding a whole can of tomatoes. This is 28 ounces can of tomatoes, and I'm going to open it now and I'll let the onions soften. Okay, the onions have softened up really well and they're cooked nicely. Let's go ahead and add the garlic and give it a good stir. This is a very simple pasta sauce and you can refrigerate it for about 4 weeks in the fridge. Usually the store-bought sauces, they even go bad very quickly. So now I'm done sauteing the garlic. Make sure you're not burning it. Let's go ahead and add some crushed pepper flakes. Roasting the pepper flakes in oil actually brings out the spiciness out of them, and dried spices as well. This is some Italian seasoning. I'm just adding about like half a teaspoon to 1/4 teaspoon, not a lot, but it gives a lot of flavor. And investing in some spices like those add a lot of flavor to the dish and a depth to the dish. I'm going to be adding about a teaspoon of tomato paste. Now what this does is gives a intense tomato flavor, and at the same time it also thickens the sauce beautifully. So I'm just gonna give it a good stir and roast the tomato paste a little bit, just a tad bit. And once the tomato paste is good and mixed up really well, okay, give it a good stir. And once that is done, I've opened the jar of the canned tomato. The crushed tomatoes, they have like a nice smooth paste texture, but at the same time it has a little bit of feel to it. So I like the way the crushed tomatoes are, and give it a good stir. Now what you wanna do is add your sugar and salt and bring this mixture to a nice boil. Give it a good stir and bring it to boil. Cover it and cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes depending on how much so you can add a little bit of fresh parsley and basil at this point, and once it comes to boil like that, just let it keep boiling for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm gonna see you guys after 10 minutes. Give it a stir in the middle, like just for after 5 minutes or so, just in case nothing is getting stuck to the bottom and burning. So pasta sauce is done simmering for last 15 minutes, and this is how it should look. It should be nice and thick. The reason that it should be thick is that it should be able to coat the pasta really well and stay at place. You don't want like a runny, watery pasta sauce. Now that the pasta sauce is done, all I have to do is let it cool down and come to room temperature, and I'm just gonna put it in a plastic box with a nice tight lid and you're good to go. And the key to storing a pasta sauce or cheese, like fresh cheese slices or fresh mozzarella, anything that you buy, is to put it in the back of the shelf in your refrigerator. Like for example, if you have two shelves, on the top shelf, the back side all the way to the back is the coldest part in the fridge. So you want to put the pasta sauce and cheese, things like those, in that area. That way it's nice and cold, and when you open the fridge door, the heat doesn't transfer directly to that area, so that's how they stay nice and fresh. So you want to put this pasta sauce in that area. That way it stays up till 4 weeks in your refrigerator, and when it's time to reheat it again, I add a little bit of white wine or red wine, about 1/4 cup of white wine or red wine to 1 cup of pasta sauce, and a little bit of chicken stock or vegetable stock, which adds a lot of flavor. I add chicken stock or vegetable stock because when they prepare that stock, they add a lot of herbs to it, they add a lot of vegetables to it, so it becomes really flavorful, and you can take advantage of that and infuse that flavor into this pasta sauce. So this is done, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thanks for watching. You can find this recipe and many more at booklesscooking.com. Thank you very much.